Hi everyone, my name is Frede and today I'm going to be doing the Booktube About Me tag, which I wasn't tagged in, but I just kind of felt like doing it because a couple of you have recently joined me on here, so I never really introduced myself, I think, and most of what I talk about is books, so I thought that might be interesting. We've got a bit of a different background today because I can't be bothered to sit at my desk because that's just quite a mess, so we're just gonna sit here today. So this tag was originally created by Harriet Rosie, which I will be leaving the original video in the description. I just kind of spontaneously decided to do this, so I have no answers laid out, so we're just gonna go question by question and see what I think. So the first question is, what do you study or what is your job? So I'm in my third year of university of my undergraduate degree, and I should be writing my undergraduate dissertation next semester. We'll see how that goes. I'm not quite sure if that will happen. But yeah, so that's what I do, and I study English and cultural anthropology, which in Germany, I need to go on a little tangent, because I think most people, when they hear anthropology, they think of going to places that are very different from your own, to going to like very small tribal communities. That is not what I study. What I study is a bit different, because what I study is kind of studying a culture but not going to a place that's very different from your own, but studying kind of your own culture or subcultures within your own culture. So that has just a different origin than that what you would normally associate with anthropology. So yeah, that's what I study. And then I also have a job as kind of a student assistant, I suppose, for one of my professors. And then sometimes what I also do is I work for a theatre, which after I finished high school I spent 1 year working for a travelling theatre for primary schools that has different plays that will have to do something with, I suppose, the syllabus of primary school. So there is a play about maths, there is a play, or two plays about German, there is a play about English, things like that. And then like the plays aren't like super didactic, like you need to like maths or something, but it's just kind of in there, just a bit playful, I suppose. And there's one play about music, and that is the one that I sometimes join to like kind of go on tour with. I don't act, but I do other things that are important, but I do that maybe once or twice a year, so that's not a job that I usually do. Question number 2 is, what is your favorite social media channel? Well, I really enjoy YouTube, actually. I watch quite a lot of YouTube, but I also really like Instagram, although it's really annoying that it's not chronological anymore. So, I don't know. I also really like Twitter. The Twitter that is always linked in the description, which if you like you can follow, that would be nice. That is not the Twitter that I use most. I have another one which is locked, which is just almost kind of just a group chat with a lot of my friends that I've just known for years. So yeah, I think I actually like YouTube most because there are so many different things you can watch on here. Question 3 is, if you had another channel, what would it be about? I think I wouldn't bother making another channel. I would just, if there's something that's like non-bookish stuff, I would just post it on here, because I wouldn't really see the point in making another channel. Like, sure, this is a booktube channel, but like my life isn't just books, so I think you would have to deal with that, with me making different videos, because a lot of people do that as well. I'm not exactly sure, because the only thing that really came to my mind is something that I don't really think I would share, and that is, I like to do kind of crafty things. Like, I have an embroidery project that's been going on since like September last year, but that's like this. And then also sometime last year I made little felt fruits. You can't even really see that, but I've got a banana, I've got a lemon, can you see that? I don't know. I've also got an apple and a strawberry. I love being an adult. I've got a pear and an orange and another apple. So I think the only thing, like, that is something that other videos would be about, but I don't think I would really share the process of that, because it's really just me sitting doing nonsense, watching YouTube, and then hoping that the result will look good. I usually don't really have a plan. So yeah, and I think I would feel a bit apprehensive of sharing that. because it's not pretty, I just like making stuff with my hands. But yeah, I guess that would be the only thing that will really work with this question. Question number 4 was, do you play any instruments? Kind of. I used to have guitar lessons, but that stopped in like 2012 or something. But I can play the basics. I can play a couple of chords. I could probably relearn some of the finger picking stuff. The only problem with that is that in the time between me stopping those lessons and now, at some point I cut myself in the finger at a really inconvenient spot. You can't really see it, but basically I cut myself here, and there is scar tissue, and it's exactly the spot where you put your finger on the guitar string. So when I do that now, it hurts like hell, because it's scar tissue, so it's kind of numb, but you still feel when you press against it. And yeah, so I can't really play guitar because it just hurts more than like your usual skin does. And then I kind of taught myself to play a bit on the piano, but I don't really have proper technique in doing it. I just kind of try and then I hope it sounds good. And I can't really play while looking at the notes, I suppose. So the things that I can play, I play by heart. And I can look at chords and I can play those, but I can't actually play. So yeah, I know how to read musical notes and I have a basic understanding of that. I have a basic understanding, like very, very basic understanding of the guitar and the piano, but I can't really play, like in the sense of really being able to do that. Question number 5 is, what hobbies do you have other than reading? Well, I just said I like doing things like that. I think that's extremely relaxing. And yeah, I just like making stuff with my hands. Yeah, and I think apart from that, I don't really have anything else that I like doing because I don't have that much free time. So either I'm reading or I'm making crafty things or I'm wasting my time on the internet, but that's not a hobby. That's something that I wish I did less because it's just a waste of time. But yeah, question number 6 is favorite TV shows. So that's a difficult one because I used to watch a lot of TV shows. I think one show that just is one of the best things I've ever watched is Breaking Bad. I started rewatching that last summer, but kind of haven't really continued, which I should do because it's just brilliant. Shows that I really enjoy watching now when I watch TV shows. I really enjoyed the first season of One Day at a Time, which is a Netflix series. I haven't seen the second one yet because I haven't had the time, but I really want to see that and I've heard so many amazing things about it. I love How to Get Away with Murder. It's such an overdramatic and unrealistic show in the things that happen, but it's one of those shows that I can't just watch one episode. I will binge watch it. I also really like Orphan Black, which the first season, it's been so long since I saw that, so I can't really remember, but I'm currently in the 5th season. I haven't finished that yet, but I really enjoy that one. I think it's a very interesting concept, and while there are things that I think I would criticize about it, I think it's a fascinating show and I really enjoy it. I also have to say I love the old new Doctor Who stuff. So like the 2005 to, I don't know when David Tennant left, but 9 and 10, they are my angels. I love those episodes. They have a lot of flaws. They are like trashy on a production standpoint, and they have a lot of flaws in their storytelling and their characterization of some of the characters, but I just love it. It just makes me really emotional and I really like it. But after that I didn't like 11 and I think I stopped watching then. I might have watched 1 or 2 episodes with 12, but I didn't really care, and I just don't really care about that show anymore. But I can still, like when I rewatch those earlier episodes now, it still makes me feel a lot of things. I also really love Black Mirror. It's also one of those shows, like not as much as How to Get Away with Murder, but still one of those shows. If I start watching, like if I start watching a new season, I won't stop until I'm done with the season. So yeah, I think those are the TV shows that kind of come to my mind right now. I'm not as much of a TV show watcher anymore as I used to be, but yeah, those are kind of my answers for that. Question number 7 is, what got you into reading? Nothing in particular actually, like I was always kind of reading. Like I said the same thing in my Booktube newbie tag back when I did that. that I think I was very curious as a child, and I knew how to write my name and how to write a couple of other words before I even started school. And so when I started school, I was a bit further ahead than most children in my class, so my teacher gave me like those easy learn how to read books, and I just always read kind of. I had a phase, sort of my teenage years, when I was like, I suppose 13 to about 18, almost 18, where I didn't read a lot because I thought that reading was uncool, like reading books. What I did instead was reading manga and fan fiction, which obviously, if you don't want to seem like a loser, reading manga and fan fiction is maybe not the thing you should do instead of reading books. But that's what I did. I didn't really read a lot of books then. And then what got me back into reading, which I also said in my newbie tag video, is Der Vorleser, or The Reader in the English translation by Bernhard Schlink, which now looking back has some problems and it is a bit of a controversial book, but I flew through this and then I was like, wow, I might want to read some books again. So yeah, this one kind of got me back into the flow and the love for reading. Question number 8 is, what are your favorite and least favorite genres? I don't know, I think my favorite genres... Literary fiction is really a genre, is it? I don't know, but that's kind of, I suppose, what I enjoy most. But I've really also enjoyed non-fiction lately, and yeah, I don't know. I suppose those. What I like least is romance books. I don't really care about those, and I also, anything YA usually isn't for me. Question number 9, what books define your childhood? I actually did a video about that sometime last year, about like my favorite books of my childhood, so I will be leaving that one in the description if you want to watch it. And the last question, and it's not even a question, tell us an interesting fact about you. Okay, this one is a bit weird. Basically, I have had a Twitter account for a really long time, and for a while when I was, I don't know, 16, 17, I tweeted a lot of bullshit. And I had an icon which was a really terrible drawing, like fan drawing, of Zach Braff, who is an actor in Scrubs, which is a series that I really enjoyed at that age. And I would still probably enjoy that. So, terrible, really ugly fan art. So I was like, this is really funny, and I saved it and I used it as my icon on that Twitter account. And it's still my icon. I'm never going to change that. because I was that kind of annoying teenager who tweets celebrities annoying shit. So every time that Zach Braff would be online, I would tweet him, does my icon make you uncomfortable? And one day I received a DM from Zach Braff saying, please change your icon. So that's an interesting fact about me. It still makes me laugh when I think about it. I still think, looking back, I was a piece of shit as a teenager. And it's kind of rude for me to keep that icon, maybe. I don't know, but it's funny. Yeah, that was my interesting fact about me. So I will be leaving some names of people that I tag in the description, because I can't come up with any names from the top of my head right now. I'm gonna check if you've done this already, and if you haven't, I might put you in there. If I don't tag you and you still want to do this video, please do, because I think this is very interesting, kind of gives you a different insight into the booktuber. But yeah, so that was, I guess, a bit of a more chatty, non-bookish video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!